My name is Ibrahim. I am a man like you, born in this land of Burkina Faso, raised under the same sun that shines on us all. Today, I want to share a story with you. It's not a story of power or titles, it's a story about respect, about dignity, about what it means to be human. It happened on a flight, in seat 2A, on a plane bound for our capital Ouagadougou. Let me tell you what happened, in simple words, so we can all learn together. It was a busy afternoon at the airport. People were everywhere, rushing with their bags, some laughing, some tired, some arguing. Flights were coming and going. Voices filled the air, and the noise of wheels rolling on the floor mixed with the hum of announcements. I was there, just a man in plain black. My shoes were clean but simple. My bag was small, just enough for what I needed. I didn't wear a suit or a watch. I didn't carry a big briefcase or a laptop. I sat quietly in the first-class lounge, holding my ticket for Flight 227 to West Africa. In the lounge, people sipped drinks, scrolled on their phones, or talked loudly about business. I said nothing. I watched, I listened. A few people looked at me, then looked again at a black man, alone, in simple clothes, sitting in the first-class lounge. They wondered, I could tell. Who is he? Why is he here? He doesn't look rich. He doesn't look like a businessman. But I sat there peacefully, waiting for my flight like everyone else. Then it was my turn. I stepped forward and handed her my ticket. Her smile disappeared. She looked at my face, then at my clothes. Her eyes narrowed. "Excuse me, sir," she said, putting her arm in front of me. "You must be lost. This lane is for first class." I stayed calm and handed her my ticket again. "This is my ticket," I said softly. She took it, stared at it, and her face tightened. "Seat 2A, she read, almost to herself. "This must be a mistake." She looked me up and down, her eyes full of doubt. "Sir, this flight is not for someone of your color. You can't sit here." People nearby turned to look. A young woman behind me gasped. A man in a business suit frowned. Some pulled out their phones, starting to record. My heart was steady. "I bought a first-class ticket," I said. "That's my seat too." She laughed, but it wasn't a kind laugh. "You can't even pronounce the name of this airline, and you want to sit in first class?" The crowd grew restless. People whispered. More phones were raised. A younger attendant, a man with glasses, walked over. "Is everything all right?" he asked. She leaned toward him, but loud enough for me to hear. "This guy's trying to force his way into first class with a fake ticket." The young man took my ticket and scanned it with a small device. A green check mark appeared with a soft beep. "It's valid," he said quietly. Her face twisted. I stepped aside to let a mother with a baby pass through. Then I turned back. "I'm not here for drama," I said. "I just want to take my seat." The young attendant looked worried. "Clara, maybe we should just... You want to lose your job over this?" She cut him off. Her voice was sharp like a blade. I sighed and stepped forward. "I will take my seat now," I said. My voice was calm but firm. She stood frozen. Her authority was slipping away in front of everyone. Finally, she stepped aside, but as I passed, she hissed. I walked into the plane. The first-class cabin was cool and quiet. It smelled of leather seats and soft cologne. Seat 2A was by the window. I placed my bag in the overhead bin and sat down. From my pocket, I took a small notebook and a pen. I began to write, not a word of anger, not a frown, not even a sigh. Clara entered the cabin. She watched me for a moment, then turned to serve drinks to the other passengers, ignoring me. 3 rows away, a man in a suit adjusted his tie and glanced at me. His name, I later learned, was Francois Dua, a French CEO. He said nothing, but I could feel his eyes on me. A soft chime sounded. "Ladies and gentlemen, we are preparing for takeoff. Please fasten your seatbelts." I closed my notebook and looked out the window. The engines roared, and the plane lifted into the sky. Below, the world disappeared. But inside this plane, a storm was just beginning. High above the clouds, the cabin was combat. There was tension in the air. I sat in seat 2A, my seatbelt fastened. I didn't ask for champagne or stretch my legs like others. I looked out the window, my heart quiet, my mind clear. I've seen many things in my life, storms on the ground, storms in the hearts of people. This was just another one. Clara moved through the cabin, offering drinks and snacks. Her smile was bright for everyone except me. When she reached seat 2B, the woman next to me, an older French lady with pearl earrings, asked for green tea. Clara nodded. "Of course, Mary." Then she turned to me, her voice flat. "What do you want to drink?" "Just water, please," I said gently. She rolled her eyes. "Sparkling or still?" Pick one. Still water is fine, I replied. She brought the bottle and dropped it on my tray table. It nearly fell over. No napkin. No smile. No, here you go. I picked it up, fixed the cap, and took a sip. I stayed calm. Francois, the CEO, noticed. His face showed he didn't like what he saw. Something about me, about the way I carried myself, made him curious. I didn't speak much, but I didn't need to. My silence was enough. Clara came by again, handing out hot towels. She skipped my seat entirely. The woman in to be whispered to herself, "Why does she keep ignoring him? He's not causing trouble." A man in 3C leaned toward his wife. "Maybe she thinks he doesn't belong here." In the economy cabin, I could hear laughter and the cries of babies. The plane rocked gently with light turbulence. Back in first class, something was about to happen. The young attendant who had scanned my ticket approached Clara at the front of the cabin. "Can I talk to you?" he asked. She sighed. "What now?" He leaned closer. "You need to stop treating that man like he's invisible. People are they're filming." Clara's eyes flashed. "Let them film. Let the whole world see. That seat doesn't belong to people like him. He bought it fine, but he doesn't belong here. He knows it. I know it." When the turbulence passed, lunch was served. Fancy trays were placed before the passengers. Clara dropped a tray in front of me. "Here, hope this meets your standards." I nodded. "Thank you, Francois. I had seen enough." He leaned toward Clara. "Excuse me," he said quietly, "but why are you treating that man with such disrespect?" "Sir, please mind your business." Francois didn't back down. This is my business. I paid for peace, not to watch you insult a paying passenger." Other passengers nodded. Someone clapped once. Clara turned and stormed to the galley. Inside, she paced, muttering, "How dare they defend him? Who does he think he is?" In seat 2A, I closed my eyes and breathed slowly. I am used to storms both in the sky and on the ground. This one was different. It wasn't just about color. It was about dignity. It was about patience being tested. I reached into my pocket and touched a small folded cloth, the emblem of Burkina Faso. I didn't wear it that day. I didn't need to. It was in my heart. The intercom sounded. "Cabin, crew, prepare for arrival. 30 minutes to landing." Passengers sat up, cleared trays, and zipped bags. Clara returned to first class one last time. She stood near my seat, arms folded. "I hope next time you choose the right cabin," she said coldly. "You're lucky we didn't throw you out before takeoff." I looked up, my voice was steady. "Sometimes the seat we choose is not about money. It's about what we represent. I will keep choosing this seat not for comfort, but for what must change." My words hit her. She didn't fully understand them, but they made her feel small. The plane began to descend. The clouds parted, and the lights of Ouagadougou sparkled below. The wheels touched down with a gentle bounce. The cabin lights turned on. "Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Ouagadougou. Please remain seated until the aircraft comes to a complete stop." Passengers clapped lightly. Some stretched, some yawned. But in first class, all eyes were on me. Clara wasn't done. As people unfastened their belts, she walked up to me again. Her voice was low, like poison. "I wish you never entered this flight," she said. She leaned closer, whispering so only I could hear. "You think sitting in first class makes you clean? It doesn't. It just makes this cabin stink." I blinked once. My eyes met hers, calm and strong. I said nothing. The woman in to be, the French lady, saw Clara leaning in. She couldn't hear everything, but she saw Clara's face. "That's enough," she said firmly. Clara turned. "Stay out of this." "No, I won't," the woman said. "You're out of control. You've gone too far." Clara laughed nervously. "You think he belongs here? Look at him." Francois stood up. "Clara," he said, his voice steady, "you have embarrassed yourself. You have embarrassed this airline. You have embarrassed all of us." Clara froze. "He has done nothing wrong," Francois continued. "He paid for this seat, behaved with grace, and showed more dignity than you could ever understand. You may not know who he is, but I can tell he is a man of great worth." Clara's face burned with anger and shame. "I did what I thought was right. We have standards here." "No," Francois said sharply. "You have prejudice. That's what you have." Passengers gathered near first class. Some had heard parts of the argument. Others had seen it all. Many were still recording. The cabin door opened, and a breeze came in. Airport staff waited below with steps to the ground. But something was different. On the tarmac, a black car with dark windows was parked. 5 soldiers in uniform stood at attention. A long red carpet was rolled out beside the steps. Passengers leaned toward the windows. "Is there a celebrity on this flight?" someone asked. Maybe a royal family member, another said. Clara looked confused. We didn't get any VIP alert. The young attendant walked up to her holding his phone. Clara, you need to see this, he said. She grabbed the phone and looked at the screen. Her face dropped. It was a photo of me not in an aeroplane, but in a military uniform, standing before thousands of people. Flags waved behind me. Soldiers saluted. The title read, President Ibrahim, President of Burkina Faso. Clara's hands shook. She looked up, searching for me. I was standing, lifting my bag from the overhead bin. No, this can't be, she whispered. I walked toward the exit. Wait, she called, her voice soft. Nowzer. I stopped and turned. Her lips trembled. I didn't know. I didn't mean to. I looked at her, my eyes gentle but firm. Would it have made a difference if you had known? She opened her mouth, but no words came. I spoke again. Respect is not a gift for the powerful. It is a duty to every human being. Then I turned and walked out. The sun outside was bright. The soldiers saluted sharply. One opened the car door. I didn't enter right away. I turned and looked up at the plane. Inside, passengers watched through the windows. Some had tears in their eyes. Others shook their heads in shame. Francois stepped out and caught up with me. Mr. President, he said, his voice humble. Please forgive us. I had no idea. You carry yourself with such humility. It is admirable. I smiled gently. Sometimes we must walk low to see how deep people's hearts are. We shook hands. Back in the cabin, Clara sat in an empty seat. Her face was pale. Her hands were shaking. The young attendant stood beside her. You didn't just insult a president, he said softly. You insulted all of us who look like him.